Trek is that it continually, in those morality plays every week, reflected the reality that we were creating.
Work. Please settle, please. And action.
The creativity continued on Star Trek: The Next Generation. In the series, Levar's character actually has a rather interesting backstory.
I just wanted to fix something in one of the speeches there. It was a tribute to a man named Jordan LaForge, who was a huge fan of the show, and Gene came in contact with him over the years and was just really struck by how fiercely this young man loved Star Trek. Jordan was confined to a wheelchair all of his life, and I believe suffered from cerebral palsy. And so my character, Geordi, is actually named for this young man who was like, in Gene's mind, not just the ultimate fan, but really represented those legions of people who had embraced this thing.
Levar's character is blind, but wears a special visor so he can see everything, and then some.
The fact that Geordi is blind it's an interesting situation, in as much as when he puts on the visor, he sees more than normal people do. This man sees so much more. He sees the entire electromagnetic spectrum, and he sees it all simultaneously. This man sees sound. Okay, he sees everything from infrared to X-ray and all in between.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, the TV show, was in production from 1987 until 1994, and that's when the movies picked up.
Well, you know, a lot of people call this the seventh Star Trek movie, but I prefer to think of it as the first Star Trek movie with the Next Generation cast. Obviously, this is the transition movie. This is the passing of the baton from the original cast to the Next Generation cast, and that's kind of where it fits in. This is the future of the feature film franchise, if this is successful, for the next, God, 10, 20 years?
Star Trek fans are as devoted as ever, and Levar counts himself among them.
Star Trek fans, like you say, there are many levels of fan appreciation of Star Trek. And there is a level of intensity that is amazing to be in the presence of. And I feel very strongly that, these people have a very intense love for something that is also very near and dear to me. The flip side of it is they're dressing up and creating characters, and that's a real healthy way to spend your time. They're not home beating their children, kicking their dogs. Do you know what I'm saying? This is, all things considered, a pretty healthy pursuit. After all, as an actor, I dress up, and pretend for a living, and nobody thinks that's weird in the least. So I have an awful lot of I have a very special place in my heart for Star Trek fans, because I feel like I'm one of them.
Now, Levar moved behind the camera to direct several episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation and its spin-offs, Voyager and Deep Space Nine. So when we come back here on Uncut, we'll talk to Levar about his new role as director.
And that's a cut. That's a cut. When I started directing, I really felt like I had found my true calling.
Welcome back to Levar Burton Uncut. I'm Todd Newton. Now, after successfully tackling the acting business, Levar decided he was going to try his luck behind the scenes as a producer and a director. So he formed Eagle Nation Films, and he's been pretty busy with some rather interesting projects. Levar cut his director's teeth on several episodes of Star Trek.
It's not really a director's vision that's being expressed necessarily, but they do give you an opportunity to at least get in a few pieces of your own point of view.
After Star Trek, Levar decided to come down to earth. In 1998, he directed the Tiger Woods story for Showtime.
It's called the Tiger Woods story, but it's really the story of the Woods family, how Earl and Tita discovered at a very early age in Tiger that he had this phenomenal gift, this phenomenal ability, and it's the journey of how they have done everything in their power to make sure that that ability is brought forward in the best and most balanced way imaginable. they have gone to great lengths to ensure that Tiger is not just the great golfer that he is, but that he's a well-rounded human being as well.
It's the kind of story that Levar looks for when hunting for a script, stories that reflect his beliefs.
As a producer, as a director, and as a writer, yeah, there are definitely, there's a part of my own personal moral code that I bring to that work. And I suppose as an actor, I bring that in terms of that which I choose to do. But, you know, having made that choice to do a Star Trek or to do a Reading Rainbow or any other project that I'm associated with, you know, that prerequisite then has been filled.
I'm giving these people exactly what they need.
And cut. Excellent. Print that. Thank you very much, Jess. Excellent. Excellent.
Levar's personal moral code: kindness will get you everywhere.
Oh, son, stop that.
I was raised in an environment where, you know, courtesy counts. Look, I believe that the end result is really important. It's why we're here, to get an outcome. And I believe equally as strong that how we treat ourselves in the process of this makes all the difference in the world.
And Levar continues to make a difference in the world as an actor, producer, director, even as the author of a science fiction novel. Still, there's one thing we won't see him doing.
No, you don't want to hear me sing. You really, really don't. I'm really happy with what I'm doing now. And I feel that it's all been a progression. I mean, I used to think that when I was an actor, that was the end-all be-all. What I discovered some years ago was that 20 years as an actor was really just the prelude. It was really a situation that gave me an opportunity to watch and observe and learn. And when I started directing, I had started producing before that, but when I started directing, I really felt like I had found my true calling. And this is from a guy who studied for the priesthood, so, I mean, I felt like I've had, you know, a calling to do a lot of things. I felt like I had the calling for that, and I felt like I had the calling for acting, and now I really, this is really it. And cut. Producing and directing is really, you know, what I will spend the next 20 years of my life doing, and being involved in projects that have a similar feel is really important to me.
Still to come on this edition of Uncut, it's a smart move for Levar Burton when he takes on the smart house.
We have this house that can do things that we are only just beginning to dream of in present day reality. This is a house that can answer your every whim.
Welcome back to Uncut. I'm Todd Newton. Now, for his next project as a director, Levar Burton decided to get smart. He directed a TV movie for Disney called Smart House.
And action, please. We are dealing with a young man who is dealing in his own life with really one of his biggest fears, which is that his mother's memory would be erased within the family's circle. And as a result of her being gone, he's sort of taking on a lot of responsibility in terms of the care and feeding of the family, and enters a contest and actually wins a smart house, a technologically computer-driven, very sophisticated domicile. And of course, this being a Disney movie, that technology at some point in the movie goes awry.
The movie stars Ryan Merriman, Kevin Kilner, and Katie Seagal.
I play a computerized house. I'm not actually the house, but I am the computer voice that runs the house. And at a certain point, I get extremely possessive of the people that live in the house, and I decide to make an appearance, which kind of freaks everybody out because I'm really a computer voice.
There's a couple things that happen in the movie I can't really tell you, but in the end, the house ends up going haywire. entrapping us, and you know, we escape. It's a really fun movie, and it's gonna be really cool.
The house is working.
The house, not only is the house working, but you are getting rid of
The problem.
the problem, your only obstacle to fulfilling your intended purpose. At one point, Pat is a voice for 85% of the movie. In the last act of the movie, Pat comes to life and actually creates a physical embodiment of herself, and that's where Katie comes in. I mean, she will be the voice all along, but we actually see Katie in the last act of the movie.
I wasn't dreaming, Dad. I'm telling you, she was there.
To explain to you what I've been trying to tell you all along, Nick. Mother knows best!
That's a gut.
You've been waiting for years to say that.
Yeah, this is kind of really fun.
Well, this is when Pat has really taken over. We have just found out that Pat has created herself, and what has happened is Ben, the young man, has removed her safety protocols and sort of programmed her with a lot of 50s mom television footage. And so in an effort to be the best mom she can be, she sort of overstepped her bounds and wants to take over and is holding the family captive. And that's why she pushes Sarah, her creator, out the door so she can, you know, do what she was created to do, which is serve the family's every need. But from now of a slightly demented point of view.
When it comes to the cast's point of view about Levar as a director, they all seem to agree.
He's great. I mean, he's really nice, and you know, I like to work with directors that have a lot of acting experience, which he has too, because that's a certain way of communicating, and he has that, and seems to run a really tight and friendly ship.
All right, I think it's time. The time has come. Ladies and gentlemen, we must do a visual effect. We haven't done one all day. I feel it's time.
He's an actor and, you know, director, so he kind of knows where everybody's coming from, and he's just a really nice guy, and I like him. He's cool.
Actor, director, producer, writer, Levar Burton does it all. And he wants it all, too.
I don't know what's next. I mean, I love writing, and that's a big passion of mine. So, I guess I'm just greedy. I like to do it all.
You want it all.
I do. And why can't I have it all? You know, I mean, I believe that it is possible to have it all.
There's no reason for
There is no reason why I can't have it all.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Uncut. Thanks to our friends here at the Hollywood Entertainment Museum for their hospitality. And most of all, thanks to you for watching. I'm Todd Newton. We'll see you again real soon right here on Uncut. Okay, guys, you can go ahead and beam me up here. Is there a seatbelt I need for the...
We don't see ourselves as a celebrity family.
You know how boring we were? We are so boring.
We're just the Burtons.
Any sort of tensions between this transition?
Between the original cast and the Next Generation cast?
Right.
You know what? I think if we stripped naked to the waist and went mano a mano, I could guarantee you we'd kick their ass. I have to go now.
Run.
If you don't mind. I mean, I'd love to stay and
Can we
chat,
come back?
but I have to go.
Okay.
Okay.